It is a peaceful and joyful celebration.
2024 makes 50 years of celebration, but getting there was no walk in the park.
After the end of World War II, the entire country was swept by a wave of fear of people being different.
Phil Nash served as the first director of what would become the Center on Colfax. He's also the author of LGBTQ Denver, a book highlighting the queer history of the city.
There was a feeling in Denver that homosexuality was a threat to the moral integrity of the city. It was a shameful thing, and as a result, any community that developed underground.
So how did the community go from underground to taking over the streets of downtown?
You know, we used to only have one side of the street. We never had both sides of Colfax.
Anthony Aragon organized the Denver Pride Parade for nearly 2 decades.
It all began with protesting, with Stonewall.
1969 Stonewall riots in New York City is known as one of the most pivotal moments in queer history, sparking a movement at the turn of a decade.
That event really created ripples all across the country, actually all across the world.
On June 29, 1974, those ripples made their way all the way to Denver's Cheeseman Park, where the city's first gay inn was held, which we now know as Denver Pride.
They passed out balloons that said Gay Pride, but there were only about 50 people there.
The small but mighty group wouldn't stay that size for long. The following year,
attendance was closer to 500.
And the reason why?
There were 11 kegs of beer donated.
Is just about as Colorado as it gets.
And so there was a bigger attraction for many people to come because there was free beer.
Leave it to a little Coors to help change the course of history.
The growth of the parade and of Pride Fest in general, the numbers have increased every year.
Out and proud, the queer community made monumental strides towards visibility and acceptance.
In 1976, a famous drag queen named Christy Lane obtained the first parade permit to allow for the first gay pride parade in Denver.
So much progress, but soon after, things took a turn.
The 1980s was a time of great sorrow.
Reports from the CDC show over 100,000 people died from AIDS between 1981 and 1990, greatly impacting gay men in particular.
Dozens of people I knew did not survive the AIDS epidemic.
A community in mourning still had much more work to do.
We're going to work for our equal rights, not for special rights. That's all we want, is just equal rights.
In 1983, during the next mayoral election, there was a candidate named Federico Peña who tried to build a broad coalition of Latinos, labor unions, the African American community, and the LGBTQ community.
Peña ended up being elected, and while in office, he ended discriminatory policies and appointed Carol Hunt as his liaison to the community. She was the first openly queer person in Denver government. Nash says from then on, the doors of City Hall were open to the LGBTQ+ community, and politicians were paying attention.
Before long, we started seeing them showing up for pride parades because they began to understand that the gay vote could tip an election.
And by 1990, a group called the Equal Protection Ordinance Coalition, or EPOC, succeeded, with Denver City Council passing a comprehensive human rights ordinance, implementing the same rights for queer people that Aragon says have been under attack in recent years.
It's important to remember we have these protections in Denver and Colorado, but our LGBTQ brothers and sisters across the nation do not.
The American Civil Liberties Union shows that right now there are over 500 anti-LGBTQ bills in the U.S.
These rights could be taken away from us. And so I think it's really important not only that we're visible, but that we invite our family, our friends, our coworkers to come out and celebrate with us as well.
Pride is no longer just for LGBTQI people. Pride is for everyone.
I'm here to support gay people. I had a gay son who died, and I want all the gay people to come out. And that's Pride, come out and let their families know, and we can get out and support them.
I would say that I have lived long enough now to know that despite the setbacks, we always win in the end.
And in the midst of Pride Month, he has this party message for anyone who may be struggling with their identity.
Live out. You may experience some consequences, and they may be lifelong consequences, but the rewards of coming out and sharing who you are fully with your family can have magical effects.
Jamal Simon, 9 News.